For 736, it's going to be a half scale drawing. Just like the other half scales that we did as a single view, we're going to draw this one outside the title block. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out the views outside of the title block, and there's just a few little things that we're going to do to make our life a little easier when we scale it down and put it in the title block. So the first thing that you want to do in your layout C, just kind of zoom out a little bit, and let's go to the line command and just draw a line. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just drawing a baseline. So what we're going to do with this line is we're going to use it to lay out our three views. So just like when you do the formula, you offset the height, the spacing, and the depth. So that's what we're going to do. So let's offset the height, and that's going to be 3 5/8. Now, instead of offsetting up 1 inch spacing, let's offset 2 inches. The reason we're going to offset 2 inches instead of 1 is because, remember, we're going to scale this down by half. So half of 2 inches becomes 1 inch. So that way it'll leave that 1 inch spacing in between our views and they won't be so crowded together. So let's offset up 2 inches. And now we're going to offset up the depth. So the depth of this part is 6. Okay, so this is going to be the front and the top. So now we need to offset the width and the depth to get our front and right side. So let's connect the lines down the side so we have something to offset. Okay, let's go to offset, and we're going to offset the width, which is 10 inches. Let's offset that 2 inch spacing again, and then we're going to offset the depth, which is 6. Now, depending on the size of your line, you may need to extend your lines out, or in my case, I need to trim off because they were too long. So let's just go to trim, and then if you trim out, there's your views. Here's your projection box. So now you start drawing the top, front, and the right side. So let's go a little forward in time over here. Okay, you finished the drawing. Now we need to scale it down and put it in the title block. So this is how you do that. Let's scale it down first. So go to scale. You've done this before with our single views. Select the whole shebang, right mouse click, pick a base point. It doesn't matter where, anywhere is fine. And your scale factor is half, 0.5, enter. All right, we have scaled it down. Now, I need to center all of this in this title block. So we don't have to worry about the 3-view formula. We really don't need to do that because I already have the views laid out, but I have these 3 views that need to go in here and be centered. So this is what we can do. Let's go to our dimension tool, and let's just put a dimension top and bottom. So that whole thing is that tall. Okay, so what I can do with that is I can do the single view formula. 7 1/8 minus the height, whatever that equals, divide it by 2, and then that's my offset up. So take the number that you dimensioned minus 7 1/8. So when you get your answer, just offset up. You don't have to do any more than that. Don't try to offset the height and the depth. We don't need to do that. Let's do the side to side. Place yourself a dimension all the way across. Okay, take that number, use your single view formula, 10 1/2 minus the width of the whole thing, divided by 2. All right, the width of our whole thing ends up being 9. So when you do your formula, find your answer, and then offset. Now, at that intersection is where our centering is. So Let's get rid of those dimensions. They're in our way. Go to Move, select it all, right mouse click, and pick that bottom corner as your base point to pick it up. Now just drop it right there at that intersection. There you go. Erase those offset lines. You don't need them. And now your drawing is centered in your title block. It's a half scale, so I'm not going to make you dimension this one. And 737 will work the exact same way. So watch the video again if you need to, but just be careful with your measurements. Make sure you scale it down by half scale, and then do the single view formula.